another episode featuring Getting to Yes by Robert Fisher. And more after the intro, as always. And yeah, he's actually called Robert Fisher. I wasn't quite sure, to be honest, but I got it right, which is amazing. And yeah, with that being said, hello and welcome back to the next episode of the Self-Development with Tactics podcast. I'm your host, Christopher Walch, and I'm really pumped to go through this episode. Yeah, I really am. I hope this episode is going to be more into the whole negotiation thing, because it is actually a book about negotiation, but I haven't seen that much up to this point, which lets me wonder, which keeps me wondering, which whatever. But yeah, anyway, please check out the description. It is very important. It's not really important for me, but it is really important for you. And this is why I want you to check out the description and or the show notes if you're on a podcast. And yes, and I'm still wearing the exact same shit as yesterday, if you wonder, which you're probably not. But yeah, anyway. The next point is communication, as far as I can tell. So yeah, listen actively and acknowledge what is being said. Something, for example, that was said in Never Split the Difference by Chris Voss is to repeat the past, or the last 3 to 5, or was it 1 to 3 words, 1 to 5 words? Something like that. So the last few words that the other person said, by repeating them, you're going to give the other person the perception, also the feeling that you have understood everything that the person said. And also by actually recapping that. If somebody just says to you like, okay, I am really in a good mood because I've won in the lottery today. And so I made like 10K or whatnot. And then you're like, well, yeah, I really believe in that. I really believe that you're feeling good just by winning the lottery and winning 10K. Like, it must feel really fucking amazing. Then they know that you have understood whatever the fuck they have been talking about. Why do you actually say, okay, it's a good thing or it's a bad thing? They know that you've understood them, and that you've got them. This might not be kind of the best example because it's probably something that everybody gets, kind of. But I think it's a very good thing, indeed. Speak to be understood. Talk to every side of the disagreement. Yeah. Speak about yourself and not about them. Don't superimpose your impressions on them. I do wonder what superimpose is. The number will appear on the screen, superimposed on a flashing button on the screen. Different stone tools. Oh, your impressions on them. Yeah. I think the thing is that people notice that shit. People notice really a lot. For example, when you're lying, when you're not being honest, when you're actually a piece of shit person, you're trying to act in a generous way or whatnot, they notice that. People are not dumb. People notice a lot of shit. And this is also one of the reasons why being just honest and really generous and really how you want to be perceived as is a good idea. Because people notice when you're honest, and people know when you're speaking the truth and speaking from your heart and all that shit. And the last one is speak for a purpose, don't waste breath. And also this is something that people notice and people can somehow, I think, interpret, I guess. I actually, by the way, don't know if it is interpret, inter, whatever. I'm sorry. I really indeed sorry. Or really indeed am sorry for that. Well, but I think if you're just talking to talk, this is also something that people notice. And if you're just talking to basically, and talking shit, to just talk so much that the other person is going to be like, well, okay, it's your thing, it is fine, let's just settle this, it's okay, it's fine, you're not just having to give me $10 that you have just borrowed from me like yesterday and shit. No, you don't have to, because I do not want to talk to you. And I mean, it is not a really good thing to do that. If this other person then just really doesn't want to talk to you anymore, it is like just the completely opposite thing that you should be doing, because it is actually something that they said, or he said in the upper part that we went through yesterday, that if you're negotiating with somebody, then it should be in a way that you're still friends afterwards. It should not be a war, it should not be whatever. You should really like each other afterwards, as well as just before, or as much as before. Prevention is the best method. Build a strong working relationship by be friends outside of the negotiation. Well, yeah, this is exactly what I think I was talking about right now. Which is actually such a crazy thing and such an interesting thing that this happens quite a lot to me. And I believe that I'm reading things subconsciously. There's no fucking way. There's no fucking way that, I mean, it happened to me like at least 10 times, you know? And there's no fucking way that this is gonna happen without me actually like not reading it subconsciously or whatnot. Like, it is just really interesting. Face the problem and not the people. Don't view the other side as adversaries. Yeah, you know, because it's about the problem. It's about the topic. It's about the theme and not really about the person, you know? Even though I do have to say, like, the other person can make the thing relatively difficult by being relatively difficult by maybe, well, let's say thinking in a wrong way, thinking in a way too complex way, and thinking in a way that does not quite represent reality, maybe, you know, if you know what I'm referring to, like, yeah, you know, some people kind of get confused and whatnot, and then talk about some shit, and it doesn't necessarily have to do anything to do with whatever the fuck you're talking about. Like, there's many different ways how you can misunderstand somebody and somebody can misunderstand you. And I think then, because it might happen to some people more often than to other people, then it is kind of also a people problem. But I mean, if you're negotiating with a friend, then you should be friends afterwards as well. Like, I think this should be one of the number one priorities. If it is a friend, you know, if you don't give a shit, then yeah. Interests. Focus on interests and not on positions. For a wise solution, reconcile interests and not positions. Interests define what the problem is, and your positions are something you have decided upon. Your interests are what caused you to decide. Yeah. Why are people doing things? Why do you really want to get my truck for 5K instead of 10K, you know? Because I actually want to sell it to you for 10K, but you want to have it for 5K. Why do you want to have it? You know, is it because of your daughter that might be ill? Is it because of your dog that might have died yesterday? What could it be? You know, what's the interest? You know, or what's the motive? Maybe as well. If I'm actually getting it right, you know, it could also mean just something completely different for you. But I'm seeing this kind of. How do you identify interests? Ask why. Well, I'm just gonna have to talk about that, but I'm gonna read it first and then I'm gonna bash it. No, not really, but I'm gonna talk about it. Ask why. Put yourself in their shoes and try to figure out how they are arrived or how they have arrived at their positions. Ask why not. What interests of theirs stand in the way of your decisions? What do they know? What do they not want? What you want? Realize that both sides have multiple interests, and most powerful interests are basic human needs, as represented in Maslow's pyramid. Indeed, you know, because I mean, on the very bottom there is safety. This is why a lot of people buy fucking SUVs, even though they are not necessarily more safe. But people perceive it as a more safe car because it is bigger, it is higher, it looks stronger, and most often it is just also designed in a way that it looks strong, it looks also cool if this is something that you give a fuck about. But if safety is something that you're not too just concerned about, then you're probably gonna have like a Lambo, if you can decide, or a Porsche, or a Mercedes, or a BMW or BMW. You're gonna probably decide for such a car, or you're gonna just go for such a car, probably because you're not concerned about safety. You're concerned about something else. Maybe how other people are looking at you, how other people talk about you after you went by with your car. Like, there's a lot of things that people do. But coming back to it, asking why when you are in a negotiation is not always a good idea. So ask why. Put yourself in the shoes. This is a question for yourself. You know, I first of all thought that, or in first sight, or at first thought that it is about asking why, or asking the other person why. Why do you want to have this? Why do you want to do this? But asking yourself, it's good. It really is. Why does this other person want to have that? You know, and really putting yourself into their shoes and trying to figure out what their interests are and what is important to them, because then you can probably negotiate in a way better way, you know, because you can understand them and you know what's important to them. And it might also be the case that something that is important for you is also important for them, you know, which is a win-win situation. Quite. On the other hand, what I did want to say is asking somebody why is never ever quite a good idea. And this is also something that comes from Never Split the Difference by Chris Voss, who has been an FBI negotiator, if I remember correctly. And the thing is, I don't really remember why it is not good, but I've seen it really often. Asking why, or in German, warum? Why are you doing this? Why are you feeling that way? It is like, I think it is putting too much of a strain on the other person, rather than trying to label things, which is is it known? I don't know if it is known, but it is a tactic. When you feel like that somebody is feeling not that good, then you could be like, you seem to not feel really good. You seem to be a little bit upset. You seem to be unhappy. You're labeling it. You're labeling what you're seeing, and you're labeling what the other person might feel. And it helps the other person to, first of all, understand themselves, whether you're right or you're wrong. It doesn't really matter, because if it is just not right, the person's going to be like, well, no, I'm really happy. Which means, okay, the person itself understands that he or she is happy. But if you're right, it's also good, because, it depends on how you think about it. But in terms of the negotiation, it is good, because then the other person might be like, well, yeah, indeed, I am unhappy, which might be something the person didn't really think about before. It is amazing. It is not only amazing because there is some benefits to you, but there's also a lot of benefits to the other person or to the other party. Because, understanding oneself is always something good, and is always something that's appreciable. If this is an adjective, I do not fucking know. Talking about interests. If you want the other side to consider your interests, you must explain what those interests are. Acknowledge their interests and that you understand them. Put the problem before your answer. Give your interests and reasoning first, and your conclusion or proposal later. Look forward and not back. Sometimes we argue for a reason or a purpose. Be hard on the problem but soft on the people. By attacking the problem at the same time giving the person on the other side positive support, you create a cognitive dissonance for him. To overcome this dissonance, he will be tempted to disassociate himself from the problem in order to join you in doing something about it. The last one is amazing. The upper ones are also pretty good. The problem that I'm having, there might be something that's incredible in there, but I'm not seeing it in real life. I'm not seeing the whole parallels to reality, to what I've experienced, to maybe even what it means. If you want the other person, the other side to consider your interests, you must explain what those interests are. It might also just be too quote unquote obvious, but but even though I think there is a lot of stuff in this one. I think it is an amazing one. I think it is an amazing summary, an amazing book, and an amazing book notes article. By the way, the link is also in the description. If you want to check it out, you could check it out. So I'm going to repeat the last one again because I really believe it is amazing. By attacking the problem and at the same time giving the person on the other side positive support, well, the question is, what is positive support? Is it like, okay, I really think that you're right, and then attack the problem, You create a cognitive dissonance for him. To overcome this dissonance, he will be tempted, or she will be tempted to disassociate himself from the problem in order to join you in doing something about it. Which really sounds great, because then it is not about the people. Then it is not about you or about the other person. It is just really about the problem, which the whole thing is all about. It's not about you. It's not about me. It's about a problem that we both are having, maybe with each and another. Options. Invent multiple options looking for mutual gains before deciding what to do. In most negotiations, there are 4 major obstacles that inhibit the inventing of an abundance of options. Premature judgment, or premature judgment, searching for a single answer, the assumption of a fixed pie, thinking that solving their problem is their problem. Oh, yeah. I think pretty common, isn't it? Or relative, like, okay, it's not my problem, I don't give a fuck. Maybe it is. To invent creative options, then you will need to separate the act of inventing options from the act of judging them. Yes, that's an amazing one. That really is so important, and you can also translate that into life in general, because why isn't it working? Well, anyway, we all are having a lot of ideas. We all have, somebody has an idea for a new music label, somebody has an idea for a new shop, somebody has an idea for a great design, somebody has an idea for a great drawing. we all have good ideas, or at least we all have ideas, but we all judge them. We all think that this idea is good and the other idea is bad. The problem is judgment and your own criticism is definitely something that's subjective. And by subjectively viewing your options and viewing your thoughts, you're probably going to throw away a lot of them because you think, okay, it's not worth my time, it's not good. But it's not about you. It's about somebody else, because somebody else is probably going to look at your work and be like, well, it is actually amazing. You did something great there. And I think it is the exact same thing there. You can have a lot of options, but you have to communicate them probably, because if you don't, you will never ever know what the other person thinks about it. Maybe this is the solution for the other person, but you don't know because you haven't asked it or you haven't communicated this option or this solution or this whatever it is all about. It's a really important one because criticism and judgment is subjective. Before you brainstorm, define your purpose. Think about what you want to walk out of the meeting with. Choose a few participants and change the environment. Design an informational atmosphere and choose a facilitator, someone who can keep the meeting on track. Make sure everyone can speak, enforce ground rules and stimulate discussion, which I think pretty important. Especially once again, the last one I think. And what I'm seeing there is, or what I'm thinking about there is, hello, I hope it's fine, should be fine. What I'm seeing there is that it is about human beings, and we all want to talk and we all want to just have a voice basically, and if you're in a meeting with 10 people and only one is talking to you, because you might just having a pitch and whatnot, but one person is just allowed to talk. Yeah, I don't know if this is that good. And also the atmosphere that you're in, if it is an atmosphere that is really open and really like, okay, yeah, please just talk to me. Please give me some feedback. Please tell me if whatever it's all about. I don't know. I think it's important. Something else, change the environment, yeah. What I'm thinking about and what I had to think about is how you look like, which might also be relatively important for the negotiation. And it is really something that I don't really like, but it is kind of the truth, and it is kind of the reality, and it is kind of, not even kind of, but it is reality. It is how things are. When you look like a doctor, which is also the reasons why when you're having an advertisement with doctor, then suddenly the medicine or the drug is way more, let's say, professional than without a doctor and their coat and or whatever it is called, I don't know. It looks more professional. It looks like, okay, it is the truth that this person is talking about. But no, doesn't necessarily have to be the case. This just drug or this medicine could also be complete bullshit. But it's just because we think that this guy in this coat is just talking the truth because we associate something with this coat, which is doctorism, professionalism, whatever ism. And you might also have to do this as well. If you're just trying to pitch something, then you might, quote unquote, have to, because you don't have to, but you can, wear a suit or something else that communicates to the person. It's not about you and it's not about your idea. It is about whom you're talking to, I would say, because some people, quote unquote, prefer people that, well, we most often prefer people that are like us. And if you know that the CEO is like, the CEO is like, well, I don't actually give a fuck about a suit and a fucking tie and just whatever and looking, quote unquote, good. I don't give a fuck about that. Then you should probably also do that. But if this person is like old school, I would say like it still depends, and conservative, which doesn't necessarily have to be the case for this particular example actually, then you probably have to wear a fucking suit. If you want to or not, it's probably going to be a better way of communicating because it as such is a way to communicate, or it is a communication. If I'm just wearing something else, if I would be wearing a suit, then I would be perceived by you probably differently. Maybe it's like, okay, what the fuck is going on? What are you doing here? It's a YouTube video. It's not like whatever show, whatnot. It's a podcast and it's not something else. But we're communicating with that. And this is something that I've gotten also talked about. But I have to say, like, I'm not a big fan of that. I really am not. Because maybe it is just way too close to faking till you make it. Like looking professional, and I'm so professional, even though you're not. But you look like it. it's really something complicated. But yeah, should I, during brainstorming, seat everyone side by side facing the problem, clarify the ground rules, and outlaw criticism of any kind? Outlaw. What is outlaw? Wanted, criminal, outcast. Oh, thank the. It's amazing that the German translation is the exact same word. Now I know more about it. Thanks, motherfucker. Brainstorm, then record the ideas in full view. And I have to say, every idea. Even if it sounds dumb, like, even if the idea is dumb, and even if it sounds dumb, and you do not really want to say it, this idea might be just perceived as a good one by other people, first of all, and second of all, it might lead to a really fucking good one by communicating it and by being like, well, you could do it in this and that way, even though if you just are joking about it, another person might be like, well, indeed, we could just take this and translate it into something different, and this is amazing, and we can use it for whatever. I think it's important. I think it's a good thing. It's an important thing. It's a necessary thing. After brainstorming, start the most promising idea. Relax the no criticism rule to begin. Was it winnowing? What the fuck is winnowing? Separate. Divide. Like, there's so many words for just the exact same thing. Like in German you have, we have separieren, winnow. What the fuck? Trennen, Wurfeln. For the, maybe, there's not a lot of them, but German-speaking listeners, Wurfeln, I have never ever heard about that. Like, really no. But I know at this point in time, there's a lot of people from the United States, which I really appreciate, so thank you. And also from, I think, Norway, if I'm not quite sure, or if I'm not quite wrong. And well, also Austria, a percentage, but it really goes down. Like, I do want the Austria percentage as low as possible because it's my country and it's probably going to be these people that are around me. And yeah, like, I appreciate it anyway. Like, I'm not going to be like, okay, I don't want people that know me to just personally consume my stuff. But yeah, invent improvements for promising ideas, make it as attractive as you can, and set up a timer to evaluate ideas and decide. Yes, because brainstorming can be a long process. Brainstorm with the other side too. Broaden the options on the table rather than look for a single answer, and search for mutual gains. But yeah, this is probably going to be the end of the episode. So I wish you the best health, happiness, and also success, and also hope that you remember to be nice and that you think about your legacy, which is basically how you're going to be remembered by other people. And by being a nice person, you're probably also going to be remembered as a nice person, or your legacy is going to be nice, I guess. But yeah, I actually have to really take a shit right now. So 3 other questions that I'm having for you are: why are you here? What are you trying to change? And what is bothering you the most? Ask yourself these questions and you're probably going to find your purpose and maybe even a business idea. Who knows? But yeah, hopefully going to see you the next time. And I really have to thank you. So thank you and bye-bye.